All right, so in the last lesson, we talked about imaginary numbers. Now we're going to combine that with some real numbers, and we're going to do complex numbers, and we're going to perform operations. So we're going to add, subtract them, multiply them, divide them, stuff like that. So what is a complex number? Well, a complex number is a real number combined with an imaginary. And we write this as them being in the form a plus b times I. That's a complex number. So it says find the values of x and y that make 3x minus 5 plus y minus 3 inside parentheses times I equal to 7 plus 6i true. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to set the real equal to the real. So what I mean by that is we're going to take 3x minus 5, this is our real part, equal to 7, and then we're going to take imaginary equal to imaginary. Which means that we're taking y minus 3i equal to 6i. Alright, so here we solve like we normally would. So 3x is equal to 12 divided by 3, and x is equal to 4, right? Okay, so here you can think of this as saying the i's are going to cancel each other out and saying that y minus 3 is equal to 6. So we're going to add 3, y is equal to 9. Those are our x's and y's that make that true. Alright, so let's go into the operations. The operations work very similar to what they do with real numbers. So if I'm adding, okay, so this is really what? 5 plus 2, which is 7, right? And here, this is what? Negative 7i plus 4i. Well, negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3i. Okay, so with a minus. So that means it's 4 minus 3, which is 1. And then we have negative 8i minus negative 6i. Well, negative and a negative make a positive, so negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2i. That's how you add and subtract them. All right, multiplying. When we multiply, we have to FOIL. You should remember that from Algebra 1. All right, so foiling. So that means first, so 6 times 9 is 54, right? Outer, so 6 times 2i is going to be 12i. Negative 8 times 9 is negative 72i. And then right here we have negative 8i times 2i, which is negative 16i squared. Okay, so this is 54. I'm going to add or subtract these, so 12 minus 72 is negative 60i. Now remember, I squared is equal to negative 1, so negative 1 times negative 16 is a positive 16. So now I'm going to combine here and here. 54 plus 16 is 70 minus 60i. Alright, so same thing. So we multiply here, so that's negative 6. Multiply, whoops, already did that one, huh? Multiply the outer, 3 times 4i is 12i. Inner, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4i. And out here is 8, positive 8i squared. Okay, so that's negative 6. 12 minus 4 is 8i. And then 8 times, remember I squared is negative 1, so that becomes minus 8. So then negative 6 minus 8 is negative 14 plus 8i. Alright, last example. Dividing is a little bit more complicated. The key here is we want to get rid of the I down here. So the way we do that is we use what we call complex conjugates. Okay? And that is A plus BI and A minus BI. These are what we call conjugates. So in this case, we want to multiply both the numerator and denominator by the complex conjugate of the denominator. So if this is plus, I want to multiply by 3 minus 6i. And then I do the same thing up here. Okay? So what I have is I have 2i times 3 minus 6i over 3 plus 6i times 3 minus 6i. Alright, so this is going to take a little bit of work on this one. The next one's easier. This one will take a little bit of time. Alright, so 2i times 3, that's going to be easy. That's 6i. 2i times a negative 6i is a minus 12i squared over, and now this is where we FOIL, so 3 times 3 is 9, right? Multiply there, then we multiply here, so that's minus 18i plus 18i minus 36i squared. Alright, so that's 6i. I squared is negative 1, so negative 1 times negative 12 is a positive 12. Over, I have 9. Negative 18i and a positive 18i are 0. So again, I squared is negative 1 times negative 36, so that's plus 36. So I'm going to rewrite this one more time. So this is 12 plus 6i over 9 plus 36 is 45. There's your answer. All right, a whole lot easier when it's just a pure imaginary number. In this case, we're just going to multiply both the numerator and denominator by I. Okay, so that's 4i, right? 4 times I, and then I times I, so plus I squared over, and when I multiply here, we get what? We get 5i squared. Okay, so let's continue. So we got 4i plus negative 1 over 5 times negative 1, right? So in reality, what we have here is we have negative 1 plus 4i over negative 5. Now, you could go one step further. We don't necessarily want that negative. So negative and a negative here, right here, and right here become a positive. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 minus 4i. So change the signs on top. If I change both sides on top, I can change the sign on the bottom. And so it's 1 minus 4i over 5. If you have questions, let me know. I know this one sounded a little bit more challenging, but do your practicing and you'll be okay. We'll talk about it when I get back on Monday, for sure.